Arin was a quiet child. In a small village tucked between the mountains, silence was seen as a virtue. The louder children were scolded, but Arin was praised. Such a good boy, they said. So obedient. He learned early that speaking out brought trouble, so he listened, he observed, but he never raised his voice. When the older boys bullied others, he stayed quiet. When he saw someone cheat the market lady, he turned away. The silence became his safety. Over time, Arin wasn't just quiet, he was invisible. He started believing his voice didn't matter, that courage belonged to the bold and the loud. And so, he shrank further into himself, hiding behind the approval his silence earned. But inside something was dying. A sense of self, a fire of justice. He didn't know it yet, but silence wasn't saving him. It was stealing his strength. It happened on a morning like any other. Arin's mother was sweeping the front of their home when angry voices rose from the temple. A gold coin was missing. Fingers pointed quickly, and without warning, they turned to her. "She passed by the steps this morning," someone said. "She must have taken it." The villagers gathered. No one asked questions. No one doubted. Arin stood in the crowd, heart racing. He knew she didn't do it. He had been with her the whole time, but his mouth wouldn't open. His body froze. His silence screamed louder than any words could have. The village priest declared her guilty in front of everyone. Her eyes found Arin's, waiting, hoping, but he looked away. That evening, as the sun dipped low and his mother sat inside alone, Arin felt something crack deep within. Guilt, shame, and the unmistakable taste of regret. Arin couldn't sleep. His mind replayed the scene over and over. Every second of silence felt like betrayal. How could he call himself a son? A man? That night, he walked through the village aimlessly until he found himself at the riverbank. He stared at the water and whispered, "Why couldn't I speak?" But the water didn't answer. Then a voice came from the shadows, an old man, seated on a stone, watching the stars. "You froze," he said gently, as if he had seen it happen. "But know this, silence can be both shield and sword. You must choose what it becomes." Arin didn't understand. The man continued, "There is a time to be quiet, but there's also a time to roar, even if your voice cracks. Don't let fear dress itself as humility." That night, Arin didn't return home with peace, but he returned with a question. What is courage? A few days passed. Arin avoided everyone, especially his mother. But life doesn't wait for healing. One morning, at the marketplace, a young boy accidentally knocked over a merchant's cart. Fruit rolled everywhere. The merchant shouted, accusing the child of theft and mischief. A crowd began to gather. Arin stood at the edge again. The same fear crawled up his spine. But this time, he stepped forward. "He didn't do it," Arin said. His voice shook, but it was clear. Everyone turned. "I saw it. The boy tripped. He didn't mean to." There was silence, this time from the crowd. The merchant's anger faded and the boy was let go. It wasn't a dramatic moment, no applause, no praise, but Arin's heart beat with something unfamiliar. Relief, power, courage. It had cost him nothing to speak, yet it changed everything. He had taken the first step away from fear. That one act became the beginning of a transformation. Arin started to notice moments when his voice could serve someone, moments when injustice whispered in the background. He began choosing discomfort over regret. Not loudly, not aggressively, but clearly. He spoke up for the weak, defended the misunderstood, and slowly people listened. But not everyone liked this version of Arin. Some accused him of arrogance. Others said, "You've changed." And they were right. He had. He was no longer the silent shadow seeking approval. He was becoming someone who could stand in the fire without fear of burning. He learned that courage wasn't the absence of fear, it was action despite it. Every word he spoke became a step closer to the man he wanted to be. A man his younger self would have needed. And each time he used his voice, the silence lost a little more of its power. Years passed. Arin grew older, stronger, not just in body, but in presence. He became a storyteller in the village. Children would sit around him as he told tales, not of warriors and kings, but of quiet boys who found their voice. He spoke of the cost of silence, the weight of unspoken truth, and the power hidden in trembling words. His mother, now older and proud, listened often from the back. She never needed an apology. She saw it in his eyes. One day, a boy asked, "Master Arin, were you ever afraid?" He smiled gently and said, "Every time I spoke, fear stood beside me, but I spoke anyway." He taught them that silence is not evil, but it is a choice. And the choice must serve truth, not fear. For courage often starts with a whisper, but ends with a roar. Remember this: silence is only noble when it's chosen freely. When it's forced by fear, it becomes a prison. Don't let the world steal your strength through silence. Your voice is not just sound, it's your soul standing upright. Speak, even if it trembles, even if it breaks. Because silence should never be the reason you live with regret. If this story has stirred something in you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We share more tales that speak to the heart and awaken the mind. And tell me in the comments, have you ever stayed silent in a moment where your voice could have changed everything? Share your story below. Your words might give someone else the courage to speak.